All right, I'm going to use the new Train Your AI Look feature in Evoto AI 7. Here's the raw file, no edits, no effects, no nothing on here. Let's just use the Train Your AI Look feature that learns how I edit. I'm going to do that click. I'm going to come over to a preset I've created that just does skin retouch only, and boom, we're done with this edit. I can now copy this edit or sync it across my entire project, and I'm done. How long did that take? All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how this new Train Your AI Look feature works, how to set it up, what's involved in the AI learning how you edit, and we'll go through that step by step. Now, some of us, some of you, me, are very picky about our edits, and we have to be realistic about this thing. You can't expect to train your AI, look, hit a button, have it edit all your shots and sit back and you're done and we're ready to deliver. That's not realistic. Like I said, some of us are very picky and we're going to want to go in and tweak. It doesn't do everything perfectly. You're going to still need to go back and do some minor exposure tweaks is what I've been experiencing after you've applied this look. But as far as your color grade, the way you edit, it gets it perfectly. Now, I've come up with a second step after applying your AI look to help you balance out those exposures, get your exposure right across the entire set and save you time. So maybe you click a couple buttons and then you're pretty close to being ready to export. So stick around and I'll show you that second step as well. But here's what you need to understand. The Train Your AI look is not about retouching. It's more about getting your basic color grade exposure. We're looking at the basic editing, okay? You upload your photos. You need about minimum 200 photos. The more you feed it, the better it's going to do at training the AI to understand how you edit. Now, I've already done this. I fed it. You can feed it your photos from Lightroom or from your Evoto libraries or both. Let me show you how this works. So let's just start from scratch and we'll click this little button here. And to do that, right, we have one AI look that's ready, but we can create an AI look and we can name it. I'm going to call this test. And you have categories of what you like to use. Okay, so maybe I could use headshot and bring in a bunch of headshots, or I'm mostly fashion, beauty, lifestyle type stuff. So that's what I'm going to pick, and I hit continue. You can do a black and white look. You can do a color look. Okay, I'm going to use raw because that's 99% of what I edit. And then you say continue. Now here's where you have the Lightroom Classic option or Evoto. If you want to use Lightroom, make sure you have Lightroom closed first, or there will be contention in trying to read the Lightroom catalog. So shut down Lightroom before you do this. And then you hit create, and it's going to find your catalog, which is pretty cool. So it already knows where my LR file is, which is the Lightroom catalog. So I selected that, and then it's going to be able to look into that catalog and load all of the data from that catalog, and then you can pick shoots from your catalog to import the raw files in, and it's as easy as that. Now, I will say you can get up to 20,000 images in here. The more you feed it, the better it's going to be able to do at creating a profile just for you. Okay, 200 images minimum. I would do a lot more than 200. Okay, I do mostly studio work, but I do go outside from time to time. I like to shoot swimsuit and things like that. So I'll do some. I fed it some outdoor stuff. I fed it a lot of natural light stuff. I fed it, a lot of flash stuff. And when you come in here, it will find a whole bunch of all of your shoots here where it found from the catalog. It will tell you how many are available from that shoot. What you do is you can select all of them or click on this folder name path, select none, and then just kind of scroll through and select the ones that you want to add to begin with. So maybe not the whole thing because you could be sitting here for a while waiting, okay? But what you want to do is maybe select this one, and when you hit upload, I'm just going to do a sample with 20 here. I'm going to hit upload, and you wait for it to upload the images, and this could take, depending on how many images you're doing, it could take a long time. The cool thing is is that you can shut this down, you can close this window, and it will operate in the background. All right, so one other thing that could potentially save you time is you do have custom filters over here. So if you, for instance, just wanted to look at shots that were rated 5 stars, for example, that's what I use. You could filter by and have it just look at shots that are 5 stars. So you're limiting the amount of shots that it's actually considering for your look. Okay. So now it's working on importing those looks in. You can see it right here. It's spinning, it's doing the test, right? If we come over here to the little 3 dots, we can go back up and upload the window, and it will tell us the percentage that it's done uploading. Only shows like 20 images. And once it's done, I hoped it would be done by the time I finish this sentence. That's why I'm dragging it on. We're at 90%. Come on, baby, 95. And okay, 100%. So they've been added, right? You're going to want to add more. 20 is not going to be enough. See, you got the little info here. You need to have at least 200. So we can see here, I'm going to close this right here. It's not ready because I didn't add 200 images. This one up here, it's ready. I don't remember how many images it has. It has over 2,000 in there, okay, is the one that I use. So what it's looking for is photos that have edit data in them. So if you're doing a RAW, it's got to detect in that RAW file, how are you editing these photos, okay? Let's do this thing. Let's apply our look to a shoot. Now I've got a studio shoot, which I have high hopes for because 90% of the photos I fed my trained look were studio work. Now that's something to keep in mind. So tip number 1, if you trained your AI look with all studio images, don't go to a natural light shoot, say, and think that applying that look is now going to get you the results you expect. My recommendation, this is a natural light outdoor shoot. The way that I edit this is going to be completely different than the way I edit my studio shoots. So I would, tip number 1, recommend if you do both like this, train one AI look for studio shots, feed it studio shots and train it for that. Create a second AI look called natural light, location, outdoors, whatever you want to call it, and feed it your natural light or outdoor shots where your ambient is sunlight, right? So there's a big difference there on how I might edit those shots. So that's the first tip. All right, first step, just select one image. You can't select all of them and hit the button and have it apply them. I don't know why. I got lost with that. So that's tip number 2. You apply it to the first image that you want to use, right? And then you sync the AI, that AI look across all of your images, okay? That's how this works. I can't Control A or Command A, select them all, hit this button and have it apply the look to all of the shots. It doesn't work that way. Control D, deselects, do the first one, and then sync the AI edit across all the shots. So let's do that. Ready? Okay, and boom. All right. A little bit anticlimactic, right? This is not like a sweeping change like the background distraction cleanup where all this stuff gets magically removed and it's like magic. This is more utilitarian, so it's a little less impressive, right? I don't know. What were you expecting to see, you know? A little bit subtle, right? But it did what I wanted it to do. This is the look that I applied from the look that I trained, right? And I'm going to hit the space button, and there's before. It looked good straight out of camera. That's probably part of the problem, right? But here's after, and watch this. You see there's some more contrast. She's popping a little bit off the background more. That's how I edit. That's how I trained it with my look. So it's a little, I want to say it's flatter. Comparatively speaking, doesn't look flat by any means, but it pops even more here. And more importantly, like the exposure, it pulled in, like if I'm looking at it, this is what I do. I pop the highlights and the shadows. I don't touch exposure much, but it did look at the exposure and detect what it was and bring it down. That's what's difference between this and a preset. A preset, you look at the sliders and they're going to be the same number no matter what image you apply it to, right? It's going to be the same numbers in the preset. This is more dynamic where it will look at the image, evaluate it through the way that you train the look, and hopefully properly detect the exposure, the highlights, and put a value in there that's appropriate for that image, okay? Now, full disclosure, I played with this quite a bit, and if anything, that's where I've struggled a little bit, is where the exposure or the highlights are not they're not quite there. They're like, 80% there, but I got to tweak them just a tiny bit. So that's where that second step, there is a second AI step that I'll talk about as well that will finish this off for you and hopefully save you time. But I can now take this hopefully and copy this image and say hold down shift and select the rest of the images here in my set, for example. And what I don't hit train your AI, or I don't hit my AI look, I hit sync. And what I do is I come over here and I sync the AI color adjustments, and that will sync this look across. Okay. So if we do that, that takes a little bit of time depending on how many images that you're syncing. Okay. So I'm going to let it do its thing. And let's go to this next one. It's ready to go. Like, I don't know. There's before and there's after. She's popping off the background a little bit more. It's subjective. You might go, well, I kind of like seeing, here's before. I kind of like seeing more of the brown of the backdrop. You could bring the shadows up some more or do a background mask if you wanted to. But this is like I could hit my skin retouch right here. Let me go to the portrait retouching panel, hit my skin retouch. It's going to do its thing. And we zoom in and there's before and there's after. She's really popping off that background. She's retouched and I'm done. So think about it. If the AI is going to do all the editing for you, the way that you edit and even color grade, and you have a preset for your skin retouching and you can sync it and apply it to all, you're 95% of the way there. And if you do a lot of volume, like I do, a lot of, 100 shots, 500 shots, that's gold, right? That is just gold for it to just be able to do that, okay? Now, here's the thing. If you think your look overall is missing slightly, I haven't looked at enough photos to be able to determine that yet, but I can come in here, click on these three dots and click adjust look. And so that's going to bring this preview and adjust your look. Feed it a few of the raw images. I can come in here and maybe tweak some things in here. That's going to tweak your overall trained look, so you want to be real careful with that, but you can go back after the fact if you think it's consistently missing. Go in here and tweak your AI look, so that's kind of cool. But I would say, as I said earlier, it has gotten me 90% of the way there. These look pretty good. If you think you're having to do too many of these micro tweaks, I'm going to hit Control D to deselect everything. Pick an image as your base image after you've applied your train your AI look to all of these, right? And now I'm going to sync again, but I'm going to sync a second AI capability here, and this is the multi-image consistency overall color basic look, and I can match the overall color, but that also matches the overall exposure as well, or at least that's the hope. So if you find yourself going back and doing a lot of these excessive micro tweaks and you've got 500 images or something, volume to go through, try this as well. I have my base image. I've selected the rest of the images, and now I'm going to match the apply color consistency. I'm going to match that across all the images based on one trained image that is perfect for me, and it should pretty much replicate the look across all of them and minimize the amount of tweaking that I'm going to have to do after I've applied my trained AI look. So let's go to this one, for example. It's still processing and it does take a little bit of time. And so after I've applied the color match, the train your AI look, the two-step process is what I'm talking about. Train your AI look on one image, sync the AI look to all the other images, right? That's process step number one. The second process is this multi-image consistency. If you find yourself doing excessive little minor exposure tweaks, use this and apply that to all the photos and sync that across. After your second step, you should be 95% of the way there. Let's go over to Katile. And this is natural light. Okay, maybe I go down to, let's go down to some of these. And I'm real curious. And as I mentioned earlier, my trained AI look is mostly based on studio shots. So I'm real curious to what it's going to do with some of these. So let's go over to the edit. And I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to go up to the AI color adjustments panel. And I'm going to hit train your AI look. I'm going to hit this Gregory's AI look. And let's just see what it does. Exposure, not quite where I want it to be, but I can just bring it up just a little bit. This was golden hour, and I really like, I mean, this is pretty good. Let's just go to some of these here, and I'm going to now sync the AI look across several of these in this set right here. So I'll select the first one, hold down Shift, select the last one that's going to select that set for me. I'm going to hit sync, and I'm going to choose AI color adjustments and hit sync. The way that I edit, it did sort of the same stuff, 20 and 21 on the highlights and shadows, brought the contrast up to 10, brightness up a little bit. It's just the exposure. It's not nailing that every time. This is why I said maybe have a natural light trained AI look from just stuff from outdoors. But overall, not bad with this look. I'm 90% there. Like this one is near perfect here. I mean, all I would do to this one now is maybe crop it 4:5 Instagram crop, maybe bring it in just like this. And I am just about done with that edit. It depends on how natural you want her look to be. I could then come over, apply the skin retouch, go over to the portrait retouching, and boom, I'm done with that image. And we could sync that across to these other images over here. And I mean, I'm done editing the entire set. As I said, it didn't do miracles for the outdoor look because I didn't train it for outdoor shots. I would probably edit this whole session, import that into a train your AI look for just outdoor, right? Sunlight shots, things like that. All right, so what did we learn today? We learned how to train the AI look to edit our photos just like we would based on images that we supplied the model. The second thing that we learned was how to apply that trained look to multiple images, the entire set. And we also learned how to adjust the AI look. We can tweak the AI look just a little bit if it needs a slight adjustment. And the third thing was if we're doing a little bit more adjusting, especially with exposure than we'd like to do, we could take it a step further. And after we train, apply the AI look to one image, get it set the way we like it, and then we could use the AI color matching feature to sync the color across the entire set. So that's just a step further if you think that the trained AI model is not 100% getting you to where you need to be. Hope you guys learned something today. Give it a like, leave a comment below. If you have questions, I'll be glad to answer them as best that I can. Thanks for watching, and you guys have a good one.